While on the campaign trail, in addition to turning off voters state by state, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has also been touting numbers about the crime statistics in Florida that are completely fabricated. They're absolutely made up numbers that Ron DeSantis is out there bragging about, saying specifically that crime in Florida is at a 50-year low. That's pretty good, right? Especially when Republicans have made crime in cities like Chicago and New York and LA central parts of their campaigns. But, as is usual with things Republicans say, it's not real. And in fact, Florida actually has cities that have worse violent crime rates than Chicago, or worse violent crime than New York or San Francisco and LA. We're actually doing much worse down here in Florida than those other folks that Ron DeSantis loves to attack every day. And now we have the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the state organization that oversees all the cops in Florida, that are now coming out and saying, we told DeSantis a long time ago that he was lying about those crime statistics. And in fact, we're witnessing here in Florida a rise in violent crime. Violent crime is on the rise in the state of Florida. Property crime is down. Property crime is up in California, but violent crime is down. So there's a little bit of a distinction there. I mean, I think people would rather deal with a property crime than a violent crime, right? I mean, no crime at all obviously is ideal, but at the same time, wouldn't you rather be mugged than murdered if you had to choose between the two? Either way, that's all beside the point. Cops in Florida are telling Ron DeSantis, you are lying. And they've now come out and said, we warned them months ago they were lying, and they still keep spreading the lie. So the question is, how do they get away with this, right? Like, why are people not just pointing out like, hey, here's the right numbers? Well, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement explained that as well. Not long ago, the federal government said that all states had to get on the same page with their crime reporting statistics. And the same page was that you could no longer lump a bunch of crimes together and report it as one crime. All states now had to report every single, like if there was an incident where multiple crimes were committed, you can't submit that as one crime. You'd have to submit it as, 5 or 6. Florida is one of the few states in the country that has not yet started doing that. So if we have an incident in Florida where somebody goes and they murder someone in an act of armed robbery, they only report the one crime of murder. They don't report the armed robbery. Yes, the person gets charged with it and all of that, but in the state reporting statistics, that's only one crime instead of 2. If there's any other property crimes or any other even violent crimes committed during that, it's still only reported as 1. So DeSantis is using these phonied up numbers that Florida is reporting, trying to say, look how low crime is here. But the actual cops, the people on the street in Florida having to arrest these scumbags, they're the ones out there saying, crime is bad. It's bad in Florida. And you're lying through your teeth to the entire country about what's actually happening. So, typically don't like to take the side of cops, but in this story, I gladly will. Because they are telling us that Ron DeSantis is a liar, and Florida's a hell of a lot worse off than he wants people to know about. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.